podcasting is an amazing, amazing resource for you as a business owner to learn the things you need to learn and to experience or get feedback from the kind of people you want to be involved with and learn from their mistakes. Real quickly, does anyone recognize the name David Karp? Does that sound familiar to anyone? Who is it?
He's an internet blogger.
He's an internet blogger. Can you be more specific? He just did something big. Anybody know?
No, I'm sorry, I can't tell you that.
He just sold, exactly, he sold Tumblr for $1.1 billion. He's 26 years old, lives in his mom's apartment. Now, there's usually a lot of stigmas that go along with living in your mom's apartment. He's breaking through all of them, right? Because he's just got about $250 million in his pocket. That possibility didn't exist 3, 5, 10 years ago. I don't know. But there are millionaires being made every single day doing things that you couldn't do or even conceive of less than a decade ago. Now, that's important. I know that some people in the generation above ours don't like social media. They fear it. They think they don't need it. And that's okay. In some ways, I've been in that bubble. But what you need to realize is there are people out there creating companies to help you immerse yourself in there without having to do a lot of the work, which is huge. I mean, if you read 4-Hour Workweek, if you hear what Tim Ferriss says about outsourcing the less important features of your life, you need to know how to take advantage of these things that can help you build your business in an automated way. So you're not doing all the work yourself. You're not feeling pressured that you have to interact with every single one of those customers one by one as your business grows, because you have a lot of other concerns and things that you're doing. The reason I brought up Tumblr is, I had a great reason, I got to think of it. The reason I brought up Tumblr is that story blows a lot of people's minds, especially considering they haven't heard of them. I actually was in the lunch and I talked to another gentleman who's here named Brandon. He didn't know I was going to mention his name, but I love doing this because he is right now in discussions with selling his startup to Yahoo. And he's in this room right now, and I'm sure you guys should all meet him and talk to him about what he's doing. I'd actually like to have him on the podcast because as a business owner, when I tell you that, does that interest you at all? Would you like to know how to sell a startup to Yahoo? Would you like to know what's involved? Would you like to know how long it takes? Well, the point of my podcast is so there's an archive recording of doing just that, but it's not just selling startups. It's how do I automate my business? I interviewed the CEO of Infusionsoft. It's how do I, become a stock trader so that I don't have to work for a living. I interviewed one of the top New York guys doing that. But the show is Shark Tank podcast because I also interview entrepreneurs. So you've heard from Shelly. Her story was incredible. We've heard from Mike's story was very good. Michelle just kind of went off, and I thought, man, that's an entertaining podcast. She's so enthusiastic, but she's got a lot to share about tips that you can use. What's the value to you of sticking headphones in your ears for 45 minutes, driving home, doing chores, at the gym, of hearing those stories? I don't know. What is the value? I can tell you what the cost is. Zero. Right? So I want to talk about both sides of this fence. For you to listen to most podcasts out there, the cost is zero. That's just an incredible medium for you to brush up on your entrepreneurial skills. The flip side of that, if you're a business owner, I heard earlier discussed that you need to be talking to your local newspapers. You need to be networking locally. You need to be finding out who can get the word out about your company. Well, who runs podcasts that has targeted audiences that you want to focus on? Shark Tank is a very targeted audience. You hear Mark Cuban talking about how it's the #1 show for families. It's the #1 on Friday nights. It's the #1 for business owners and people in an income demographic. Well, that's great for me as a podcaster because those are the people that I want to talk to. Those are the people that I want to be in touch with. For you and your business, who is that audience? There's a guy out there who runs the Lifestyle Business Podcast, and he talks about your avatar. He goes, if you had to draw an avatar of your customer, who is it? What do they do? Where do they go? Where do they live? How much money do they make? What do they spend it on? Where is their free time? I mean, whatever you need to know for your customer, you can go online and find people that they're engaged with, the shows they listen to, the things that and you can call up a radio show or a podcaster and get on the show, have them do an episode with you and a blog post that stay on the internet forever, or as long as they're paying their bills. And how much does that cost you? Zero. It's very, very cool. The podcaster has to worry about how to monetize their medium and how to make it profitable for them. For you and the customer, it can cost very little, if anything, unless they have a model where they do pay the value, like the Panera Bread model, where if you love the podcast so much, or if you got a mind-blowing podcast, you want to send them $30 on PayPal, I'm sure they won't send it back. But that's their problem. For you, it's getting the exposure out there and becoming someone who's an instant authority.